Tiger fans, what's going on, guys? I know it's been a couple weeks since I've been on here. I hate to make excuses for not doing weekly uploads. I've been back for a couple of years now doing this. You guys know I'm usually pretty good at this. But life has been really busy. I was in Nashville for work last week. It's just been crazy. So I haven't really had a lot of time to watch the Tigers as much as I wanted to watch them. There's been quite a few games in the last 2 weeks that I've missed, either listening on the radio or watched highlights of. So I'm still pretty in the know of what's going on, but I have not had a chance to come on here and really talk about it. So let's jump right on into it. This video is probably not going to be particularly long, but I don't want to come on here and sound whiny and sound complainy because, you know, over the last couple of years, you would have said that the Tigers would be a couple games over 500 coming into the first week of May. You take that. I mean, what their record is right now, they would legitimately be first place in the American League Central over the last couple of years. I mean, think about like last year, how long into the season majority of the teams in the American League Central were under 500, even going into post All-Star break. So, you know, being a couple games over 500, you know, we should be happy and happier than we've been. But it's really annoying to go and look at the rest of the American League Central and look at these teams, particularly the Kansas City Royals. This is a team that won 56 games last year. 56. They've been horrifically bad, worse than the Tigers for the majority of the last 4 years. Them and the Tigers have been fighting basically for last place. You look at their team as a whole. Go look at their run differential. I know as of last week sometime, they were like plus 40 or almost plus 50 in run differential, which means their pitching is pitching, and they have a team that could score some runs. So what I want to know is how can the Tigers have another team that, you know, we thought looking at this squad, adding the players that they added, bringing up Colt Keith, having Parker Meadows for a full season, that there's no way this team could be power depleted again and they could be as bad as they were. Well, guess what? Shit in one hand and wish in the other. Tell me which fills up first, because right now it's shit. How are the Kansas City Royals, a team that's only won 56 games last year, that have that good of a run differential and is able to put together that kind of an offense that quickly? It makes no sense. How are the Cleveland Guardians, a team that has been historically as bad as the Tigers the last couple of years for offense because they have no power on that team, all of a sudden this year they're scoring runs? It makes no sense. I understand, you know, the Naylor brothers are hitting and whatnot, and like Steven Kwan's having a better year than he did last year. But I'm starting to come to this realization with the Tigers. It's like, you look at those teams, particularly like the Kansas City Royals. The Tigers don't have a Bobby Witt Jr. And you look at their prospects, Torkelson, Green, Parker, Colt Keith. You look at those guys, and I don't think any one of those guys is a Bobby Witt Jr. I don't think any one of those guys is a Gunnar Henderson or an Adley Rutschman. There's just these players that they drafted, these players that were supposed to be the next core. There's just not a true superstar there besides maybe Riley Green. And Riley Green is yet to play 100 games in a season. So it's hard to say. He's off to a great start, and he's killing it again. But he did the same thing last year. Spencer Torkelson is so lost at the plate, I'm about ready to tell him to go up there with a blindfold on and swing. He might have a better chance of hitting. Because clearly he can't see the ball right now with his eyes open. It makes no sense. And I know last year Torkelson got off to a bad start, and he had turned it around and had, you know, like over a 500 slugging percentage like the second half of the season. But his plate approach this year is just ungodly different than it was last year. Last year he was, even in spring training, when he was came out of the box, and he was slow to start. Torkelson was still ripping balls. He was just having bad luck. He was still ripping balls hard. If you go and look at his Baseball Savant page, you look at his barrel percentage, you look at his hard hit rate, you look at the exit velocity off of his bat, it's all down this year. He's not hitting anything. He's not really barreling balls. He's not squaring anything up. And what's so odd is the dude doesn't have a singular home run yet, and we're in the first week of May. Yet he's tied for the American League in doubles. A guy that's hitting just barely over 200 has 10 doubles, yet to hit a home run. So that's a perplexing thing. But his plate approach is just so bad. It's nothing like last year when he was struggling out the box and he couldn't get anything going because he was just smoking 110-mile-an-hour line drives at people. This year, he's not hitting anything hard. It's pop-up city. It's like him and Javier Baez went to the same hitting coach this offseason. Strikeouts off the plate away. Horrible chases off the plate away. He's so in between on the fastball and off speed, he can't square up either or. His just chase off the plate is just absolutely insane. He is literally looking like Javier Baez, part 2. There's just no plate discipline. The plate approach is bad. He's not walking, striking out a boatload. He goes up there and he's 0-2 before he ever steps in the box. He's taking so many, and what I don't understand is he's in such a bad spot and he's not hitting much at all. Why is he taking so many first pitch fastballs down the middle of the plate, and then he gets pissed at himself that he doesn't hit the first pitch fastball that's down the middle of the plate because he's so passive aggressive this year. He's not swinging at the first pitch whatsoever, and then teams throw him breaking balls off the plate and then throw him fastballs in or changeups down, and he's just striking out. I don't understand it. I don't understand the approach. And then he's getting to the point where he's not playable defensively. He's getting to the point where he's so unplayable defensively because I think he's taken out to the field with them that Mark Canha's been playing first base some. And it's like you look at this lineup, you got literally 3 players. So you got Riley Green, Wencel Perez, who's cooled off some, and Mark Canha have really been the only hitters on the entire team that are any worth a shit. And Matt Vierling too. Matt Vierling has been hitting a little bit. But their lineup is so cold. Javier Baez had a really good series in Tampa Bay and has just looked just as lost ever since then. Colt Keith, his at-bats seem to be getting better, but the rate of consistency of contact is just so bad. And he's not really hitting a lot of stuff hard. And I understand last year when he went up to AAA, he struggled initially. He struggled for a couple weeks, but he made the adjustment. And I'm worried that if the Tigers don't do something, because it's not like he's playing he's playing a fine second base. He's doing what he needs to do. But it's not like he's, anything super special at second base thus far. But what I don't want to happen is I don't want them to leave Colt Keith up and struggle and struggle and struggle and then give the same excuses. Well, he's done everything at AAA. We want him to figure it out here. It's more beneficial if he's up here. Blah, blah, blah. Then his playing time gets cut. And then all of a sudden he's playing 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and he's not getting the regular Bs. And he struggles. And he struggles. And then finally at the All-Star break, they send him down for 6 weeks to give him some conditioning, and he comes back up in September. Does this story seem familiar at all? Spencer Torkelson. So I don't want to see the same thing happen because who knows how that's affected Torkelson's career so far. He comes up, he got way too early. They rushed him because the team was shit and they wanted to be able to sell seats. They rushed him to the big leagues. They let him struggle till July, the All-Star break. They finally sent him down. It took him fucking 4 weeks of struggling in Toledo before the last 2.5 weeks he actually started to hit before September. And then they called him up September 1st for September call-ups. I don't want, and then who knows, and then when he's in interviews, I remember the last week of the season in Seattle, he's talking about that he had to stop reading stuff in the media because he was reading all the stuff, people calling him a bust, and all the stuff, that saying he's not good. And he told them, he's like, I know I'm a good player. I know I can hit in this league. Who knows what that did to Stunner's growth? I don't want to see the same thing happen to Colt Keith. I really don't. I want to see him up in the big leagues, and I want to see him to continue to develop. But there needs to become a fucking expiration date for how long you give these guys, how long you let them struggle. I mean, I know it's not nearly as extreme as like Jackson Holiday was, where he was like 2 for 33. I know Colt Keith isn't in that kind of a thing before they sent Jackson Holiday down. But how long are you going to let this ship spiral out of control before you cut anchor and let him go down to Toledo for a few more bats? It's not like he had a shit ton of bats on there anyways last year. And the same thing goes with Parker Meadows. Today was the first time Parker Meadows started since the end of April. And he's been absolutely horrific. He's been so just can't make consistent contact. He had a couple of home runs, but it's like he had like 7 hits for the total of April. How much longer are you going to let him go up there and struggle? And I don't want to see... He's so good defensively, and he's such a good base runner. He provides value in other which ways, where it's going to be hard to send him down because the glove is just that elite. But again, how long are you going to let these guys struggle, potentially affect their development and hurt their confidence because they're getting so shit on in the MLB before you set them down and make a change? Matt Vierling can play center field. Wenzel Perez can play some center field. I mean, Buddy Kennedy hit okay when he was up in the big leagues. He's got a little bit of versatility on the diamond. Not saying you can put him in the outfield or, have him play infield every single day, but, you can make it work for at least a couple of weeks. And it's not like you're losing anything. You literally have holes. Kerry Carpenter right now, not hitting. Torkelson, he shouldn't even come up to the plate with his bat. He's that bad. Javier Baez, same thing, that bad. Parker Meadows, Colt Keith, all that bad right now. 5 out of 9 spots, all that bad. If it is not Riley Green, Mark Canha, Perez, or Matt Vierling, you don't have a single chance right now to do anything. And you look at the team and you thought there would be more power this year, and no, again, another power depleted team. And you look at the rest of the AL Central and it just drives you up the fucking wall. Minnesota coming into today won 12 straight games after they started 7-13. They jumped the Tigers. Kansas City, even though they cooled off, they're better than the Tigers so far. And their offense is a lot better than the Tigers so far. And their pitching staff has been great. They're I think a top 10 team in ERA or top 8 team in ERA right now. Tigers are top 5. And it's and they're not even helping themselves, the Tigers. You get this Yankee series where... Reese Olson, who's 0-4 with an ERA under 3. This guy does nothing but go out there and pitch 6 innings and no earned runs. Like the last 3 times out, and he takes the fucking loss because the Tigers team can't get him more than they can't get him a single run. And you can't even be mad at the Tigers bullpen because the Tigers bullpen's been really good. Jason Foley goes out there and blows the save the other night in New York. How are you going to be mad at Jason Foley? How? The guy's been perfect so far this year. All the games, all the 5 out saves he's already had this year. And you're in May. How are you going to get mad at him for blowing 1 game? Score some fucking runs. Get more than 1 goddamn run. Keep your fucking team from having to be perfect. That's ridiculous. Jack Flaherty strikes out 14 against the Cardinals the other day. Shelby Miller gives up a couple of runs in the 8th inning. Score more than 1 fucking run. I don't think they're even averaging 4 runs a game. And you got these performances where Reese Olson should have legitimately won his last 3 starts. He's been that good. And you're 0-3 in those starts. Right then and there, you'd have 21 wins off of those 3. Jack Flaherty, 22 wins. The other night in New York, 23 wins. You got 23 wins, you're flirting up with first place at the top of the Central. And I think some of these teams are going to come back down to earth. I don't see KC being like this all year. Their team, so far the Central's been such a weird division because we start 6-0, then the Guardians are good, and then the fucking Royals win 8 straight games. And then Minnesota comes out and wins 12 straight games. So far, the Central's been a really weird division where everyone's over 500 besides the White Sox because they're historically bad. So it's been a really weird division and a really weird play. And like I said, I don't want to sound bitchy because we're over 500. We're in it. A couple of days ago, they were showing playoff stuff. Now, the Tigers got swept in New York So that didn't help it. But like they would have been a wild card team. Like they're right in it right now. Like after a month, that's perfectly good. That's fine. But come the fuck on. When is the next step? When is the next level? When are they going to field a competent offensive team? There's no fucking reason why Kansas City won 56 fucking games and their run differential is almost plus 50. That's fucking bullshit. Especially when they went out and they did nothing but sign a bunch of weird-ass starters that nobody else wanted. Michael Waka, Seth Lugo, all this shit. You know, Cole Reagans is really good, and I like Brady Singer. I get that. The top of the rotation is fine. But come on. Their offense... I don't understand why all of a sudden, like, you give back Vinny Pasquantino, and like Bobby. I understand Bobby Witt Jr. is a superstar and whatnot like that, but like, and Salvi Perez is having a really good year too. But like, come on, there is no fucking reason why this team, again, another year, it's got to be 7 straight years with them being a bottom 5 offense in the MLB. When is the next level? When is it a team that does not struggle to score more than 3 runs a game? When is it a team that can finally flirt with the 200 home run mark? Because you have bats on this lineup that should be able to fucking do it. Is it talent development deficiency? Is it the players' future values when you projected them just is not that good? You got a bunch of 4A/fringe 5th, 4th guys on the bench, starters? Is that what the issue is? You look at this team, like Riley Green's almost got 10 home runs. If Torkelson was hitting with the shit, he should probably have 6 or 7 home runs by now. Mark Canha already has 5 home runs. He only hit 12 all of last year. Parker Meadows should have 4 or 5 home runs by now. Colt Keith should have 2 or 3 home runs by now. Javier Baez should have 5 or 6 home runs by now. Like, Javier Baez should be a 5 home run a month guy. That should be a doable pace for someone that had his history of his power. That should be fucking doable. And then you're getting absolutely nothing from your catching position. Jake Rogers and Carson Kelly come out ripping the ball off of the cover off the ball to start the year, and then they've been horrific. Horrific. Good thing they're both good defensively. I mean, that's literally been the only saving grace. And I don't expect them to carry a team. Like, come on. Their 8-9 hole spot has been abysmal. But Jake Rogers hit 20-some home runs last year. He should have more than what he does right now. Matt Vierling's got 3 home runs, which is a nice sign. He's right on pace for what he should be. You know, Winsel Perez has 3 home runs, and that's a pleasant surprise. That's great. But, I mean, go look at the team OPS. Go look at the OPSs in the lineup. Kerry Carpenter should have 5 or 6 home runs, 7 home runs by now. It's just ridiculous. When is the next level going to come? When is this team going to finally show that it has a core to build around? Because you know something? If I'm Scott Harris, Spencer Torkelson, he came up, let's see, his 3rd year? Yeah, because last year was his 2nd year. Yeah, his 3rd year? Do you think I would have given Spencer Torkelson a contract extension like Colt Keith got? I wouldn't even sign what Colt Keith got right last year or start of this year. No chance. 6 years, $28 million bucks? No way would I give Torkelson that much money right now. No way. And I'm probably the biggest Spencer Torkelson fan. I've supported this guy through and through my channel. You can go back and watch any of my videos about Torkelson. I dog him when he's bad. But I stay loyal to this guy. I still think he's going to have 20-some home runs by the end of the year. He's going to figure it out. He's got too much power, and he is a good hitter. He's going to figure it out. But I wouldn't give him that much money. I wouldn't give him that many years. I wouldn't commit to that. A guy that can't play first base. No way. No way. The only person on this team right now that's young, that's worth a shit, and is worth the gamble is Riley Green. That's it. I would not give anybody any kind of Braves-style deal like what Alex Anthopoulos did with that core that he's assembled down in Atlanta. I wouldn't give any one of those guys on the Tigers besides Riley Green a contract extension. So what does that say about your core? You're playing just... Last year, you couldn't beat the AL East. You go and get fucking swept by the Yankees and lose a game that you should have won. First game, because you couldn't score any fucking runs. Second game, what, did they get down? It was what, 5-0 early, and then they score 3 runs and just get shut out the rest of the way. Nothing after that. And then today was just... Skubal got hit up a little bit. Like, this was probably his worst outing, and it really wasn't that bad. I mean, he struck out 12 guys. You know, Aaron Judge hit him for a homer and a double, and like, that guy's not, he's human. He's not a fucking shutout machine. But I'm just sick to my stomach of watching a team that the deficiencies are there every single year. And this is like the early 2010s when just bashing my head against the wall like this. They need bullpen. They need bullpen. They need bullpen. And fucking Dave Dombrowski will go out and sign an overpriced closer like Joe Nathan, or they would wait till the All-Star break and make a trade for Octavio Dotel or Jose Veras, go get somebody and try to win it with their offense and pitching staff. But their bullpen was still too thin. And right now, it's like you have assembled a amazingly good pitching staff. You are a top 5 staff in the MLB. But you're fielding an offense that's worse than the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's have almost as many wins as you. Another team that was historically bad is floating with almost the same amount of wins as you and has a better offense. With a team that's got guys like Shane Langoliers, Brent Rooker, JJ Bleday, Goloff. How is this team that had a bunch of guys that are literal fucking cast-offs from other organizations, like JJ Bleday, but you got all these guys that you were supposed to develop, and Scott Harris is hitting coach and their new philosophy and all this shit, and you can't get these guys to hit. You can't scout any better talent. You can't make any better trades. There was no other acquisitions. I don't know. I'm done ranting about it. I'm happy where they're at record-wise, but when you see all these wins left on the table, and you know come September how absolutely crucial those little losses in April and early May, they add up. And when you could have over 20 wins so far, and you're not taking advantage of the situation, and you're letting wins, I should say, slip away, because you can't field a team that can, as a team, have an OPS over 600. And you're relying on your pitching staff to throw shutout after shutout after shutout. You're expecting your bullpen to come out and never allow a run because it's 2-0. 1 run all the time. You've played the most 1-run games in the major leagues. When's it going to stop? When is the time that this team is going to take the next step? Because I'm tired of watching this shit. I'm happy they're better. I'm happy they're playing better. I'm happy record-wise. But the underlying all this for the rant, if you can't see the tires are flat on this car and the rubber's melting off the wheels and the wheels are about to fall off the bus, then you're delusional. Because being only a couple games over 500, having a positive record, having this kind of offense, your pitching staff's going to waver some. And your bullpen's not going to be perfect forever. They're already logging a lot of innings. This team will be 8-9 games that are 500 so fast by the All-Star break. If this team keeps hitting like this, your head's going to fucking spin. Because you're not going to keep getting these 7-3, 6-4 weeks. Because it's going to happen. Your pitching staff is going to crack some. It's going to. and you're going to take this above 500 record, and you're going to take a spot where you could win the division, because those guys are going to come back to the pack some too. And you're going to piss away the start. You're going to piss away a potentially winning season. You're going to piss away an opportunity to actually make the playoffs, win a division, because you can't field a fucking team that can have over a team OPS of 600. That's what I'm pissed about. It's been 5 fucking weeks. Your team, once again, has 5 black holes. 7 black holes, I should say. I don't know. I'm just tired of watching it. So that's all I got for you guys this week. I apologize. I missed the last couple of weeks. But as you can tell, it's been frustrating. Been really fucking frustrating. So that's all I got for you guys this week. Have a good one. Go Tigers.